Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video, what time? Oh, okay. I was looking at time real quick. In today's video, we are going to be going over the top 15 most overrated cars in the world. What does he mean by that? What's he talking about? What's he talking about? This is literally just my opinion. Okay, these are going to be, I'm going to explain myself, obviously, when I say the car, but I'm going to make a lot of people mad because a lot of these cars are probably your favorite cars. That's kind of how it works, but this is just my opinion. Cars that, like, when I think of them, when I see them, or when I do research on them, I don't get as excited as everybody else does when they talk about them. That's pretty much all I mean by that. Are they actually bad cars? Absolutely not. Pretty much every car on this list does deserve hype, just not as much as they get, in my opinion. So if I do make you upset, your favorite cars on this list, and you are like, what? That car's not overrated. Please, man, just understand, it's my opinion. I like the FD RX-7 is my favorite car in the world, okay? I know that thing isn't perfect. I know it's incredibly unreliable. It's not a fast car anymore, but it's my favorite because I like it, and I can admit to myself that it might have some flaws. So without further ado, let's go right into the list with number 15. Number 15 is a perfect way to start by making everybody in the world angry, because how could you not like this car? The BMW M3 E30. This is what I mean though, because I love the E30 M3. Like I just said like 2 seconds ago, how could you not like the M3 E30? It's if you are a car guy and you don't like this car, you're not a car guy. It is a sick car. I mean, everybody in the world loves these cars, right? Absolutely, and they do deserve that. However, I see people nowadays that say like, oh, the M3 E30 is faster than the M3 E46, and it's like, dude, with all due respect, no, it's just not. It's not in any way. And then they'll try and be like, oh, well, no, if you modify it. No, the S54 that the freaking E46 had is an insane motor. The platform was much better. Are the subframe mounts a problem on the E46? Yeah, but the E30 had a lot more problems than just subframe mounts. It's a great car, homologation hero, love it. It's a legend. It will go down in history as a legend, but goodness gracious, it is not the best M3 ever made. 14th is going to make every single TikTok kid in the world angry because it's the new, every month, in case you don't know, in case you're not on TikTok, every month TikTok kids change what their hyped up car is. Last month it was a GT3 RS. This month it's the Chevy Corvette C6. I don't know where it came from, but out of nowhere people are starting to talk about the C6 Corvette. They hype up the C6 Z06 in particular, which if you know Corvettes, you know that that's like a 50K car, and I really don't get that, because is it a good car? Yeah, but why wouldn't you just buy a C5 base model for like 10K? It has like 100 less horsepower than the C6 Z06. It has an LS, so getting 100 horsepower out of it is no challenge at all. And you got pop-up headlights. Okay? It's a lot easier. Like, it really doesn't make sense to me why people hype up the C6 Z06. Is it a cool car? Absolutely. But they're insanely overpriced. They're not at a good deal just yet. Like, they don't, in my opinion, the C5 deserves it right now, not the C6. 13th place, this one hurts me a little bit because, well, let me explain. It's any Ferrari ever built. And the reason why I say that isn't because the cars themselves are actually bad or people are saying that they're better than they are. No. The reason why is because the brand themselves suck. I'm sorry. I like, rest in peace Enzo Ferrari. I don't think this was his vision when he passed away, but for some reason nowadays Ferrari has so many restrictions on their cars that I can't get behind them. I can't support a brand that does things like this. There are so many stories of people buying a Ferrari, putting some freaking wheels on it, lowering it, just doing your basic mods to it, uploading it on the internet, and then getting a cease and desist letter, pretty much saying like, oh hey, if you continue to have fun with the car that you paid a couple $100 grand for, we're going to take it away from you because you signed an agreement stating that we can. That's so scummy, and I don't understand how people support them. So I like the cars, but the brand themselves overrated because they're scumbags. 12th place is just a car that I just genuinely don't like. I'm going to be on Hundo P with you boys. It's the Jaguar F-Type. I see the Jaguar F-Type in real life quite often. It's actually not as expensive as you would think. Like, look up the price of an F-Type. These things are very cheap. But either way, they are oddly just boring in my opinion. Like, are they meant to be supercars? Are they meant to be sports cars? I really can't tell, but I think Jaguar was trying to make them like a supercar, like kind of like an answer to McLaren, probably, because they're a British company, so they're probably like, oh, we can't have McLaren outshining us, and so they came out of the woodworks and made the F-Type and tried saying like, oh, this is a supercar. So I believe they were trying to make a supercar, but it is not a supercar. It's just like a supercar shaped sports car is the best way I can put it. These things are just kind of boring. They're incredibly heavy too. Look up the weight of an F-Type. These things are not light. 11th place is an obvious one. This was like You know how I was saying how every month TikTokers find a new car to love? Like 3 months ago, it was this car. It's the Toyota Supra Mark IV. The Mark IV Supra has been getting its hype ever since like 2016, to be honest. It's been growing its hype, but it really reached the peak of its like insanity run where like literally every kid on the planet thought that these were the fastest cars in the world in 2023. Nowadays, people are, you know, slowing back down, realizing, okay, the Supras may not be the fastest car in the world, but it's still, again, this is one of those cars where it still deserves the hype. It's still an incredible car. It's a legendary car. It will go down in history as a legendary car. But is it the best car for absolutely anybody out there? No. Does it deserve to have a $100,000 price tag? No. It's a good car. It's a great car. 1,000 horsepower on stock internals is obviously insane, especially for the 90s. The fact that it still races against like modern drag racing cars nowadays is insane. But I feel like most people don't understand that these cars were heavy. They were not good race cars, like around a track. If you want that from a 90s Japanese car, you go with the GTRs. Place is another kind of obvious one, to be honest. Actually, we kind of got a little list of some obvious ones here because it's the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. I don't think I have to explain myself when I pretty much explained everything about the Mark IV Supra with the Hellcat. Is the Hellcat another insane car in a straight line? Yes. These things out of the gate make what, 700? I don't know exactly the stats, but like 700 horsepower or something. They're rear wheel drive. These things are the drag racing kings, and I respect Dodge for making them. But about everything else, this car sucks in. It can't brake. It can't corner. It can't do anything except for go fast in a straight line. And I respect that they did that and they wanted to go fast and they wanted to build a car that goes fast in a straight line, but it does not deserve praise for being able to do that one single thing. In my opinion, a car that can do everything is a whole lot better. That's the reason why the Mark IV Supra is overrated in my opinion, because it can go fast in a straight line, but it sucks at handling. If you want a handling car and you got a couple hundred grand or whatever to spend on a Hellcat, but you want a muscle car, buy a ZL1 1LE. Those things are incredibly fast around a track. Ninth place, this is the last one of the incredibly obvious ones again. It's any Tesla. Literally just Tesla. Not for the same reason as Ferrari. You may be thinking, oh, well, maybe the brand sucks. Maybe that's why you put Tesla here. Maybe the brand is scummy. They're incredibly scummy. The fact that they lie to their consumers and say like, oh yeah, we care about the environment. Get back to work, slave. Get back to work. Like, that's not something that I will support. But either way, even if they didn't do that, I still would put them here because they're electric. They're electric. I don't like that. Also, their interior sucks. Every time I look at the interior of a Tesla, I want to throw up. All white, it makes me feel like I'm in a freaking doctor's office trying to, like, I would never want to drive this thing every day. A giant tablet. What do you do? Like, I make YouTube videos, dude. I look at a computer screen all day, then I look at my phone screen to edit it, and then when I'm done and I want to take a load off and when I want to stop, I play like a video game or something. I look at screens enough. I don't need another screen in my freaking Tesla. When I'm driving a car, I just want to feel the car. Is that so much to ask? I just want to drive a car and feel the car, hear the car, feel the gear shifts, feel the ground. But no, Tesla takes all that away. It sucks. 8th place. This was last month's most popular TikTok car. It's the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, specifically the 992, because I actually kind of do like the 991s. I always kind of have. I thought they were pretty cool looking cars. The 992 came out though, and I really just feel like it didn't change much. Like it is slightly faster than the 991, obviously. But it looks, in my opinion, worse. It's a little bit heavier than the 991, in case you didn't know. It gets better lap times, sure, it has DRS, that's cool. But everything else about the car, I just really don't see the hype behind it. People always say the reason why people like the GT DRSs is because you can buy them for a lot cheaper than a lot of the competition that it's around, right? And that is true. But when you start to like care about the price points of cars, then why don't you care about like modifying? Like, why don't you just buy like a R35 GTR, spend another 50K? Now you spent like what, 150K total max on this car, and it's faster than any of those supercars. The GT3 RS is not cheap. It's just cheaper than the other ones. Like, these things still cost like 300K. It just doesn't cost 400K. You know, it's like, it's not really that much better. 7th place is a car that I will have to apologize for and might get lynched. I might get freaking hung outside my house and people hit me like a piñata. The Land Rover Defender. And you might be thinking, oh, he means the new one. No, I mean all of them. I'm sorry. The new one especially, I mean, for sure. Like, don't get me wrong, the new one absolutely just butthole dookie water. Like, don't get me started on that one. But even the old ones, man, I'm putting them here. I'm putting them here. A lot of people think that the Land Rover Defenders back in the day are like these incredibly reliable, like Jeep Wrangler level cars, right? They weren't. They were apparently quite unreliable. Like, they were not the best cars out there. They looked cool, and I do respect that. They look insane. Like, I would definitely want to, like, if I was a henchman for like an evil boss in a movie, yeah, I'd be driving around a blacked out Land Rover Defender. But everything else about them is just not really the best. I'd rather have a 4Runner. 6. God, I hate this freaking word. Coming in at 6th position is the Mazda Miata NA. The very first ever Mazda Miata. You guys know what I'm talking about. Pop-up head like, oh, you're so cute, yay, yoo-hoo, yippee. Shut up. Shut up with the cuteness. Is the car cute? Absolutely. But it was cute the first time I saw it. Now I've seen it 15,000 times. It's not cute anymore. Okay? No, in all seriousness, though, the car, again, it's another one of those cars where it does deserve the praise, but it's the kind of the opposite of things like the Supra and Hellcat we talked about earlier. Not everybody is going to enjoy a Miata because it doesn't go fast in a straight line at all. No matter how much mods you put on. I mean, you could LS swap it and everything, and then it will go fast in a straight line, sure, but then it kind of also ruins the other part of it, which is its handling. If you care a lot about handling, you like autocross, mountain, you know, attacks, whatever you want to call them, time attacks, then yeah, you'll like a Miata, and that's awesome. They're built for a certain purpose. But people that are like sitting there saying like, oh my god, they're the best car ever, before they've even owned a car, really got to stop, because they'll I don't know about you guys, but when I first got in a car, I immediately knew what kind of like driving I would enjoy. And me personally, it's not straight line, you know, speed. I do like the handling, I like that stuff. But if you haven't even gotten into a car yet and you're hyping up a Miata, I would recommend waiting until you get into a car, because then you can find your rhythm. What do you like? Do you like going fast in a straight line? Do you like drifting? Do you like mountain passes? Do you like autocross? Do you like rally racing? You'll be able to find it, and then you can actually start to hype up the cars that fit your niche. The Miata does not fit everybody's niches, though. Fifth place is one of those cars that the entire community comes together to hate on pretty often, and so I'm going to join the pack because I also don't like it. The BMW i8. I am the biggest BMW fan in the world, okay? I constantly say all the time, BMW is my favorite car brand. Very close second is Nissan, though, because goodness gracious, Nissan makes some freaking cool cars. But BMW is my favorite car brand in the world. I constantly say that. And so I was just as excited as everybody else when I was like, oh my god, a BMW supercar? That's going to be sick. And then it came out and it made a 300 horsepower. It's a hybrid. It looks really weird, especially the rear end. The front end actually looks pretty cool. I do like the front end of the BMW i8s, but the rear end, no thank you. It kind of looks like they were trying to make like the M1 Pro car modernized, but then they were like, you know what? Let's take everything that people liked about the M1 Pro car and just throw that out the window. We take all the fun with the M1 Pro car and give it away. Give it to Mercedes-Benz. They'll make an AMG GT out of it and everybody will love that. And instead, we'll make a diarrhea dookie car that nobody wants. Fourth place is one that I'm actually very passionate about. I've talked about this car before a lot on my channel, and I do recommend it to a lot of people because it is another good car. It's the Nissan 240SX S13. It's one of those cars that do deserve some praise. They are really fun little thrashing monsters. However, the problem is that these cars were fun thrashing monsters because you could thrash them and afford it. Nowadays, you can't. The reason why people liked the 240SX back in the day is because they were like $1,000. Okay, that's why people started buying them up, because they were cheap rear-wheel drive cars. At least here in the States. Over in Japan, where they got the SR20 and the Silvias, those are obviously a lot better. But for the 240SX over here with the KAs, the reason why they were buying them is just because they were cheap rear-wheel drive cars that they could beat up, kind of like a Volvo 240, or right now, the best way I could put it is like a G35 sedan. Okay, it's like one of those cars, something that you could just buy and destroy, or a Ford Crown Vic. Okay, that's another good one. They're not actually good cars in terms of their performance, sadly, even though I love the S13. They were just fun to beat up. Third place is a car that I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make so many people mad. Honestly, for the top three, I'm gonna make so many people mad because it's the Ford Mustang GT Fox Body. And allow me to explain. Here, God, there's no way to say this without insulting every single Mustang fanboy on the world. So I'm just gonna say it. This car is not good until you put a completely different motor in it. How does that make this car good? I'm sorry, like, how does that make this? It's the most confusing thing ever. And people are gonna be like, no, you could build the 5.0 in the Fox Body. Yeah, but why would you? Why would you build the 5.0 in the Fox Body when the LS is just a 10 times cheaper platform to build? So everybody just puts the LS in these cars. It's kind of like, I get it, you know, it's a good little combination, it's good for drag racing, but that doesn't make the car good. If the car needs an entire new motor to be considered a good car, and it's the motor from your rival of anything, you know, Chevy, like putting a Chevy in a Mustang, that's crazy. That does not make it a good car, in my personal opinion. It's a legend, and it will go down in history as a legend. Again, I feel like I have to say this for every one of these cars. They are cool, and I freaking love them. But Jesus, man, like come on. Second place is one that hurts me to put here because overall it's kind of a weird one, honestly. It's the Nissan Skyline GTR R34, and this car really is one of those cars that just like, they do check all the boxes. They really do. All-wheel drive, so they're with a RB26 under the hood, so they're actually pretty decent at drag racing, so that checks the drag racing boxes. They handle incredibly well. As a matter of fact, they raced against supercars of their time, so it checks off all the racing guy boxes. So why do I not like it? Why is it here? Why is it on this list? It's not that I don't like it. I love the R34 GTR. There's just certain things about it. First of all, I love the R32. I love it 10 times better than the R34. I think it's just as good, if not even better, than the R34. It's lighter, it's more analog, everything about it is just, and it has the same motor. Okay, so that's a big one. I really don't like how the R34 is like praised so much higher than the R32 and R33 when it's really not that much better. On top of that, the price is unreal. It's the most overpriced car in the world. It genuinely the most overpriced car in the world, without a doubt in my mind. Are they insanely cool? Are they super legendary? Will they go down in history? Yes, they're insane. I get that. Okay, they're a JDM legend. They will continue to be a JDM legend. I get that, but they do not deserve to sell for $500,000. That's insanity. The highest one was like 1.5 million or something like that. That's crazy for a Nissan. First place, I'm so passionate about this car, and I do not care if this is your favorite car. I hate it. It's the Bugatti Veyron. I have never liked the Bugatti Veyron. It's in Gran Turismo. I play Gran Turismo 7 lately, and it's in that game. And in that game, there's a Grid 4 version of it, so like you can race it in Group 4 races. And that's my favorite Bugatti Veyron I've ever like seen in a video game. That should tell you something, because the regular ones, oh my god, I don't like them. They're just the most overrated cars in the world, in my opinion. Again, this is one of those cars that do one thing and one thing well, and that is absolutely it, and that is top speed. I was about to say straight line performance, but a straight line performance isn't even that good, because its acceleration, it's 0 to 60s, it's like drag racing potential isn't there. All it has is its top speed, and like that one is honestly the one that you should care about the least, because it's the one you're going to use the least. How often are you going to actually be able to take your Bugatti Veyron and go 280 miles per hour, whatever it is? Very, very, very few times, and everything else about it sucks. It's such a heavy car, so its brakes are decent, but it doesn't matter because the car is so freaking heavy. It handles like a boat. Its acceleration's horrible. I think it looks absolutely hideous. I hate the interior. The interior looks like I'm in a freaking like Michael Kors store or something. I don't like that. I don't like everything about the Veyron. I don't think the Chiron, whatever that came out after it, so much better. The Veyron, oh my god, it's so overrated. And it's like, okay, so people like this car because it broke the top speed barrier, right? That was cool. The top speed for a production car got broken by this car. That's awesome. But it held on to it for what, like 2 years before the Hennessy Venom GT came along, and then that smoked it. It's like, it really wasn't that great. You know, it wasn't, it broke it, but not for long. It's just a weird car, man. I never liked it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 15 most overrated cars, in my personal opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section down below. And I'm sorry for anybody that I offended with one of your favorite cars. Obviously, a lot of people are probably going to be big fans of things like the Miata, S13, GT3 RS, Hellcat, Mark IV Supra, R34 GTR, Fox Body, Ferrari as an entire brand I called out, like the C6 Vet, the M330. There's gonna be a lot of you guys that love those cars, and so I want to make it very clear that, again, I am literally any car on this list except for Tesla and the BMW i8, and maybe probably the Veyron too, I would want to own. Besides those three cars, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't want to own them. Obviously, the Veyron would be cool to own just because it's like $1 million car, so that's kind of different. But the Veyron, i8, and Tesla are the only three that I actually like genuinely don't like, and I genuinely like would not ever want to drive. Every other car on this list is something that I would love to drive one day, and something that I would love to experience. It's just, I think they're overrated. Okay, that's all. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.